You finally choose yourself and everything begins to burn and bloom at once. In just the first 30 words, I'll tell you this: choosing yourself is not selfish. It's survival. But let's not pretend it's pretty. It's messy, loud, lonely, and still the most liberating thing you'll ever do. Now picture this. It's 6:47 a.m. in a cold Michigan suburb. The coffee maker coughs more than it brews. Your inbox is already full, and someone in your family is asking for something again. It's always "can you just," and you almost say yes like always. But something stops you today, maybe. It's the exhaustion in your bones or that Carl Jung quote you read at 2 a.m. The most terrifying thing is to accept oneself completely. You breathe, hesitate, then say no. That tiny word feels like an earthquake in your chest. You just chose yourself. You probably won't survive this, right? So, before you get comfortable, take a moment to like the video and subscribe, but only if you genuinely enjoy what I do here. Let me know where you're watching from and what time it is where you are now. Let's calm down and begin our journey of listening and healing together today. You hear the silence first. It's not peaceful, it's awkward, like someone left the room but forgot to turn off the lights. People around you are confused. Are you okay? They ask. You've changed, but you haven't changed. You've returned. See, for years, you were everyone else's emergency contact, but your own. The fixer. The soft place, the glue. And when you finally said no, it wasn't cruelty. It was CPR for yourself. Your body begins to feel it first. Studies show that when people stop people-pleasing, their cortisol levels, stress hormones, begin to drop within days, not years, days. One researcher even found that women who learn to set boundaries after age 40 sleep better, eat more intuitively, and have lower blood pressure. Isn't that wild? But here's the weirder part no one tells you. The loneliness isn't just from others pulling away. It's from all the noise inside you quieting down. For the first time, your mind isn't rushing to plan dinner while smiling at insults. And yet, you miss it. You miss being needed. You miss the applause for being so generous. You miss being the hero in other people's stories, even when you were dying in your own. Carl Jung once said, "What you resist persists." That includes your truth. So, you sit there in that early morning kitchen with cold toast and an unopened email and you feel it. You're not rescuing anyone today. You're not replying out of guilt. You're not swallowing your needs to keep the peace. You're simply being, and that's terrifying. Experts still debate whether people biologically crave approval more than love. Strange, isn't it? That we'd rather be liked than known? You might chuckle now, remembering all the fake laughs you gave at jokes that weren't funny. You, who used to say, "It's fine," when it absolutely was and single quotes T. And now, you're saying things like, "Actually, that doesn't work for me." Scandalous. Like telling someone in a group chat that you won't make the dinner because you're tired, not sick, not overbooked, just tired. And no, you don't need to justify rest. There's a subtle superpower in that. It's not flashy. It's not viral, but it's yours. That's the thing no one tells you when you finally choose yourself. You don't get a trophy. You get quiet. And the quiet, it's where you meet you again. Stay here. We're just getting started. The moment you start choosing yourself, America feels like a strange place to live. Everywhere you go, the world keeps screaming more productivity, more side hustles, more hustle culture disguised as passion. You walk into a grocery store, and the woman ahead of you is having a breakdown in the self-checkout line, trying to scan 23 items while holding a toddler and answering a call. You're not surprised. You just wonder when it became normal to break down quietly and call it multitasking. And yet, when you decide to stop playing along, to pause, to say no, to not optimize every corner of your existence, people don't clap. They stare. You notice it first in small things. A friend texts less. A co-worker comments on how you're not as available lately. Even your dog looks mildly offended that your schedule isn't built around fetch anymore. But deep down, you know this is the test. This is the part where the universe checks to see if you really meant it. Carl Jung believed that individuation, the process of becoming your true self, requires confronting the shadow. In modern terms, that shadow might look like this: your people-pleasing habits, your fear of abandonment, your chronic over-explaining, your addiction to being needed. And oh, you feel it. You feel it when your mom sighs heavily because you won't drive for hours to help her rearrange her living room this weekend. You feel it when your friends go out without you because you didn't say yes fast enough. You feel the price of your boundaries, but science backs you up. Research from the University of Houston shows that people who regularly assert boundaries, even when it creates temporary discomfort, report higher levels of life satisfaction and emotional clarity. Turns out, your nervous system prefers truth over performance. Who knew? Still, that doesn't make it easier. You start to question everything. Was I too harsh? Did I change too fast? Will they come back? That last one stings the most. You start watching everyone else live their lives on Instagram, perfect beach days, family dinners, friendship bracelets and all. And here you are, lighting candles alone on a Friday night, wondering if you've become the villain in someone's story for finally putting yourself in yours. But listen closely, because here's a strange truth. The world isn't designed for people who say no and mean it. It's built for agreeable, tired, half-awake versions of you who show up out of obligation and smile through it. So when you finally step out of that mold, people don't know what to do with you. Sometimes you don't know what to do with you. So you try filling your time. You organize drawers. You take long walks. You Google what to do when your life is suddenly silent. Spoiler alert, the results are unhelpful. But then it happens. You catch yourself laughing at a joke in a movie, not because someone else is watching, but because you actually found it funny. You catch your reflection and realize your eyes aren't so tired anymore. You spend time alone and don't check your phone once. That's when you begin to understand. Choosing yourself isn't a decision, it's a discipline. You have to wake up every day and choose you, especially when no one else is. It's like being the main character in a movie no one's watching yet. But eventually, someone will. Someone who loves you, not your compliance. And just when you think you've lost everyone, someone texts, "Hey, I get it." Now, maybe it's your sister, maybe it's an old friend, maybe it's no one yet. But it means the seeds you planted by choosing yourself are starting to bloom. Not everyone leaves. The right ones adapt. Keep going. This part's lonely, yes, but it's also honest. And honest is the only place healing can live. Even in America, land of the overbooked and underrested, there is still room for people like you. People who aren't trying to be everything, just trying to be themselves. So go ahead. Keep being misunderstood. You're doing just fine. By now, something strange is happening. You're not reacting the way you used to. Someone criticizes you, and instead of spiraling for hours, you shrug. You even laugh. You start recognizing that not every opinion is your problem. You start unlearning the belief that your worth depends on your performance. That's no small thing. That's a revolution. Science actually has something to say about this too. Neuroscientists studying self-affirmation have discovered that when individuals consciously align their behavior with their personal values, like choosing rest, saying no, or setting boundaries, the brain activates areas associated with reward and resilience. Basically, you're rewiring your mind. Every time you choose yourself, you're not just healing emotionally, you're upgrading biologically. And yet, that doesn't make it glamorous. Let's not pretend it's yoga mats and green smoothies. Sometimes, it's crying on your bathroom floor while whispering, "I don't owe anyone an explanation." Sometimes it's making microwave noodles because you're too tired to cook for anyone else. Sometimes it's deleting that message you almost sent just to smooth things over. Carl Jung once said, "Until you make the unconscious conscious, it will direct your life and you will call it fate." This is that moment. You're finally seeing what you used to call bad luck for what it really was. Self-betrayal in disguise. The most surprising part, how much energy you actually have when you stop leaking it to every conflict, every guilt trip, every fake emergency that wasn't yours to fix. You're not drained because you're weak. You were drained because you were overextended. And now that you're conserving your soul, you feel weirdly alive, like a battery finally charging after years of slow death. Here's something else most people don't know. Emotional exhaustion can look identical to depression. But when researchers at Stanford studied people recovering from chronic people-pleasing, they found a fascinating twist. Once these individuals began prioritizing their needs, they didn't just feel better. They reported feeling clearer, more purposeful, and even more creative. Let that sink in. This isn't just about avoiding burnout. It's about uncovering the version of you that burnout buried. And no, it doesn't happen all at once. Some days, you still slip back into old patterns. You volunteer for something out of guilt. You sighs when your gut says no. You over-explain, over-apologize, overdo. It's okay. Healing isn't linear. It's a chaotic, beautiful mess, like trying to paint in the dark and realizing you've made something meaningful only when the light returns. Here's a fun fact. Jellyfish don't have brains, yet they've survived for over 500 million years. Why? Because they don't try to be anything they're not. They flow with the ocean. They don't hustle. They don't please. They just are. You could learn something from a jellyfish. So here you are, alive, growing, and more in tune with your truth than ever before. The noise is quieter. The room inside your soul is bigger. You've made space not just to breathe, but to be. And the best part, you haven't lost yourself. You're finally meeting her, or him, or whoever you were before the world told you who to be. Experts still debate whether the human brain is more wired for connection or protection. The truth is it's both. But once you start choosing yourself, your brain learns a new pattern. Connection doesn't mean sacrificing yourself. Love doesn't mean losing your voice. Kindness doesn't mean self-erasure. Let that settle in your bones for a moment, because the next time someone asks, "Why are you like this now?" you'll smile and say, "I'm finally me." But of course, the moment you say, "I'm finally me," the real conflict begins. Not with the world, with yourself. Because no one warns you that healing brings up more questions than answers. Suddenly, you're staring in the mirror, whispering, "Why did I let them treat me that way?" Or worse, "Why did I treat myself that way?" You're not just mourning lost time. You're confronting the parts of you that allowed it. This is what you meant when he talked about the shadow. It's not just your anger, jealousy, or fear. It's your compulsive kindness, your pathological loyalty, your need to explain, to fix, to be good. Turns out, the most dangerous part of you was your silence. Here's something weird. When researchers studied trauma survivors who reclaimed their sense of agency, like saying no, leaving toxic relationships, or setting firm boundaries, they found that these people often experienced a temporary increase in anxiety. Why? Because the brain resists change even when it's good. It thinks, "This is unfamiliar. This must be unsafe." You feel it in your chest, that hum of panic when you disappoint someone, that lingering guilt after choosing solitude over social events, that tiny, invisible voice that says, "You're selfish now." But that voice isn't you. It's an echo of the old systems that taught you love is earned, that your value is measured by how small you can make yourself for others too. Fit. And even though you know better now, part of you still misses the rules, still longs for someone to say, "You're doing the right thing." But healing is not a group project. You don't get a gold star for choosing yourself. You get quiet days. You get fewer texts. You get the ache of absence and the sacredness of space. You also get something else, clarity. You begin to see who actually loves you, not just the version of you that served their comfort. You learn that love without control feels different, a little disorienting, a little scary, but also real. It's like switching from cheap instant coffee to rich, bitter espresso. At first, it hits too hard. Then you wonder how you ever lived without it. Carl Jung once said, "There's no coming to consciousness without pain." And here you are, conscious, awake, feeling everything you once numbed out with busyness and approval. And now the question becomes, what do you do with all this awareness? Here's one idea. You sit with it, not rush, not distract, not fix, just sit, breathe, let the discomfort teach you, and slowly you start to see patterns. You notice that every time you say no, your hands clench but your jaw relaxes. That when you turn your phone off at night, the world doesn't collapse. That when you say, "I need time," the right people give it, the wrong ones don't. You stop arguing with that fact. You begin to believe deeply that choosing yourself isn't abandonment of others, it's alignment with truth. But experts still debate, are people wired to belong first or to be free? The truth is, you don't have to choose. You can belong to yourself and be loved. You just have to stop trading authenticity for acceptance. And maybe you mess up sometimes. Maybe you still say yes when you should say no. Maybe you still crave the dopamine hit of being needed. That's okay. You're human, not a self-help meme. Growth isn't about perfection. It's about return. And every time you return to yourself, even after a detour, you reinforce that you are worthy. Not for your usefulness, not for your sacrifices. Just because you are here, alive, awake, and finally listening to your own voice. And so here you are, standing at the edge of a life you no longer recognize, but slowly beginning to trust. You wake up and the first thought isn't, what do they need from me today? But rather, what do I need from me today? That alone feels like a revolution. Not a loud one. A quiet, slow-burning, soul-deep revolution. You start scheduling your joy instead of your obligations. You begin making decisions that feel soft in your body even if they sound firm to others. You learn the art of saying no, thank you, without an essay. You let the silence after that sentence stretch, and you don't rush to fill it. And maybe you've noticed, the world hasn't ended. In fact, it's gotten quieter, softer, somehow more real. Carl Jung believed that the individual who integrates their shadow becomes not only whole, but powerful in ways society can't measure. It's not about dominating others. It's about no longer being dominated by your own unconscious patterns. That's what's happening to you now. You've stopped performing. You've stopped outsourcing your worth. You've stopped auditioning for rooms you don't even want to be in. And because of that, something even rarer begins to emerge: self-trust. Here's a strange little truth. Psychologists have found that people who rebuild self-trust after chronic self-betrayal, yes, that's a thing, often report a peculiar feeling, like they're meeting themselves for the first time. One woman in a study described it as coming home to someone I never realized I'd left behind. Let that land. You're coming home to you. And maybe home isn't pristine. Maybe it's a little messy. Some creaky floorboards, emotional, dust in the corners, but it's yours, and in this space, you no longer shrink. You expand. You find yourself doing things you never had the energy for before. Reading again, painting, walking barefoot in your backyard, calling that one friend who truly gets you. You realize that choosing yourself doesn't mean you love others less. It means you finally have enough to love them well. Because now your love is clean, not sticky with resentment, not dripping with exhaustion, not transactional or performative. Just true. Experts still argue whether true self-actualization is even possible in modern society. The pressure to conform, to belong, to keep up, it's relentless. But you've found something deeper. Not escape, not superiority, just peace. And here's the wildest part. The more you choose yourself, the more you attract others who are doing the same. Suddenly, You're having deeper conversations. You're laughing harder. You're not trying to fit in because you belong to yourself first. You realize now, the people who leave when you change were only ever staying for the version of you that didn't know how to say no. Let them go. Better yet, thank them for showing you what was never love to begin with. So now when someone says, "You've changed," you no longer flinch. You smile. You nod. And you whisper, "Yes, thank God I did." Now let's take a breath together. Inhale, hold, exhale. You've traveled far, not in miles, but in memory, through guilt, silence, resistance, and now into light. Choosing yourself above all else isn't a single moment. It's a lifetime of tiny decisions. It's walking away from conversations that drain you. It's saying yes to mornings alone. It's telling someone you love, "Not today." It's looking at your own reflection and no longer feeling shame. Maybe you didn't realize it before, but you've been healing all along. Not perfectly, but honestly. And there's something sacred in that. So wherever you are right now, whether sitting in your car, laying in bed, or folding laundry while listening, know this: you're not behind. You're not broken. You're becoming. And becoming is a quiet, radical act. You've listened. You've remembered. You've grieved. And now you begin again with softer eyes, stronger boundaries, and a heart no longer hungry for permission. The pain, it'll still visit sometimes. That's okay. Let it sit beside you. Offer a tea. But don't let it drive. You're in charge now. You belong here, just as you are. No fixing. No performing. No apologizing. You've survived your own silence. And now you can finally hear your own voice. Let that voice guide you. Because when you finally choose yourself, you don't just change your life, you rescue it.